I just want to make sure it actually is working. Okay, it says live. That's good. And if I go to the video, great. Dude, how have you been? It has been a while.
It has been a while.
Mostly my fault, I'm sorry.
Well, you know, I'm just glad somebody besides me is to blame in a situation for once. So yeah.
I'm just checking. Today is the 6th of October. The last one we did was the 8th of August. So that's like 2 months. Good. Has it been 2 months?
It has been 2 months.
Yeah, if you want to lose track of time, start a business. That is definitely a good way to lose track of all time.
It's okay. I'm just looking forward to the day I get to interview at your company.
I think my interview structure will mostly be meme-based.
That's a good start.
Exactly.
Start.
It's like, you know, fill in the blank. And if you can't fill in the blank, then you obviously are not the right age for this company.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So hang on, you're doing PhD stuff now, right?
Yeah, I am. Prep for various PhD programs at various universities. So, yeah.
Are you actually looking inside or outside of South Africa, though? That's a real question.
In and outside, yeah.
How is, like, sincere question, doesn't Zimbabwe have like a better education system than South Africa does?
I don't know how to answer that because I wouldn't know. Like, I legit wouldn't know. Like, I understand that they, at their high school level, but do their universities outclass ours? I doubt it. I've yet to see a single Zimbabwean university higher ranked than a single South African university. So
it's you know, I could look it up, but I've decided that I'm not going to. I should be able to.
Yeah. Okay. You know what Zimbabwean education is, right?
Right.
It's the equivalent of of like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? No, I'll explain this in a second, okay? Because they do outclass us at the foundation phase. So it starts out interesting, and then by the end, at university phase, you're just like, what the fuck happened? It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh my god. I can't. What was the last one that I saw? That was it. The Village, by M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know if you've ever seen. I think it's called
where
The
they
Village.
have to wear the coats and stuff for protection.
Yeah, it's like where they have to, like the thing, and then there's like a forest around the village that they can't leave.
Spoiler alert! Anyone, for the 2 people who will watch this video for that.
But it's like an old movie, and it's like you know what? People say his movies are dumb, but it's almost like it's like a Charlie Sheen movie. You know it's bad, but that's what makes it unique. Like, I honestly feel
I will not have you disrespect Saint Sheen in my presence.
Saint Sheen, really? Is that?
Yes, I will canonize Charlie Sheen. I would have Charlie. I'm no fan of Catholics, but I would have Charlie Sheen canonized.
What was that? He gave us interviews about
Patron
his
saint of benders.
Dude, there was like a remix, like the winning song. Of just his like, oh my god.
There's like a Jax Films version of that where it's just amazing. I have to find it actually.
Yeah, like a remix of his interviews. And it's like, I blinked and I cured my brain. Like, okay, this is clearly a legend among men.
Of course, bro. Jax Films winning. Yeah, it's called Jax Films winning Charlie Sheen song. And you even put it on iTunes.
No.
No.
Okay, well, of course they did.
If I can get past like the 5 seconds of filler of YouTube there. But yeah, that's it. Here's the actual link in the chat. But yeah, amazing.
I'll just open this up. It's oh, this is actually a different one. I have not seen this one.
It's amazing.
Oh my god. Oh, it's like I'm just going through the thumbnails. I don't want to play it, but it's like a cappella group.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What is he up to nowadays? I mean, like the last thing I saw him was like one of those scary movie ripoffs. where they ripped off like I think Signs, and he was like the farmer.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it's like was it Signs? There was another Shyamalan movie about aliens who can't stand water, and the whole thing is like it was a Mel Gibson movie originally, yes. And then
Was that like the last movie Mel Gibson was allowed to make in Hollywood?
That is entirely possible. I'm thinking about this now, and I haven't heard his name. Okay, I have to look this up. I mean, even Louis C.K. got up in front of a comedy audience like in the last week. So I don't know if what Mel Gibson did was a bigger crime, but it's well, Wikipedia still lists him as a filmmaker and actor. So let's just see.
I mean, he did call a female officer pumpkin tits or sugar tits, and refer to Winona Ryder, a Jewish woman, as an oven dodger. So
What? No. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, you will be happy to know he is still making movies. There are 3 in production right now. The Professor and the Madman, Dragged Across Concrete, and Boss Level. An upcoming science fiction movie with Mel Gibson and Naomi Watts in the lead roles. What?
Outstanding. Because if there's anyone that knows about creepy science fiction shit, it has to be an Australian dude. Because I guarantee Australia is actually a continent imported to our planet from another planet by aliens. I guarantee it. It's the only way to... It's the only way to explain how fucking weird all the animal life on that fucking continent is. Like you can rip South Africa all you want, because at least in South Africa, I know every person is trying to kill me. In Australia, everything is trying to kill you, like the spiders, the fish. What was it? Was it? You know what? I actually Googled what a waratah is. Apparently, it's a plant that strangles other plants. That's one of their rugby. Like even the fucking plants are trying to kill you.
Oh my god! Yeah. That is legitimately terrifying. That place is scary. But also like the people are like paradoxically super chill, just like in general.
I think it's just like the human capacity to like the brain's capacity to deal with like horrifying things.
It's like your baseline for things going wrong is so much higher than everyone else's. It's like that's fine. A lot of things can go wrong before you.
No, really. The first time I realized what a capacity South Africans have for shit going sideways, the first time I ran into a foreign exchange student when an order at a fast food restaurant didn't come exactly in the time they expected, or when we got a flat tire on the road while we were driving. Is this what it's like in the first world? You're so pampered that like just the slightest thing derailing, it's crashing.
I actually, you know what? You're saying that now. I remember like years ago, before I went to the States for the first time, one of these comedians, I think it was actually
got your visa, by the way.
Yeah, actually, it was like a 10-year visa issued like 4 years ago, so it should still be good. No, so it was a Louis C.K. thing where he sort of made fun of people who get upset at their phones not working. And he just points out, dude, do you realize how impressive this is? The fact that it's maybe slow a little once in a while is not a big deal. And I thought, nah, he's just, lampooning Americans. And then I went and I saw a couple people react like that to things. It's like, it's wild. How pampering it's like systemic almost. Like things always go right to the point where an inconvenience becomes a catastrophe. It's scary. So
in defense of the Americans, who I'm still a massive fan of, is the more like towards the heartland you go, or the more south you go, if you get to like the Carolinas, or you get to places like Kentucky, or even if you just move out of New York and you move to somewhere like New Jersey, you go further inland, or even in the state of New York, if you get to like countryside New York, if you go to towns like sort of Albany and Syracuse, and you'll find people who are a lot more rurally adapted and a lot less like sort of freaking out over tiny things. I think places like New York City, Los Angeles, and Miami are parts of America, but a very overrepresented part of America, because
for sure, yeah.
the country as a whole has a lot of people from a lot of places that, you know, if you go to places like Michigan, the state of Michigan, like you'll find people who are a lot more well adjusted, I would say.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and again, in fairness, it's not like, you know, everyone is like this, but these people do exist. Like, I didn't even think that they existed. I thought that was like a fictional persona. I was like, no, it's real. It's not everyone, but it's real. No, I spent a couple of weeks in Utah, and I think they are my favorite people. You know, like there's some proper kind of salt of the earth Americans. You know, people that just
Exactly.
get the job done. It's like, okay, no, that's actually pretty cool. So, you know, I can see that. But speaking of LA, there was a story, I think like 2 weeks ago. There's some neighborhoods in Los Angeles that have lower vaccination rates than the poorest areas of Africa. So, and I thought about that for a while, and then I thought the next thing is, this is how the zombie outbreak starts, isn't it? Because every zombie movie is set like the US. So, like Los Angeles, some super virus mutates. Yeah, that is the plot of every zombie movie. Come on.
My question is, in most zombie outbreak situations, okay, and again, I realize my background. I'm a computer scientist, so I can't comment on sort of virology and all that stuff. But my question is, in zombie outbreaks, the biggest vector. What is the biggest vector of the zombie virus? Because in these zombie outbreak situations, it's generally implied that it's a global zombie outbreak. So how did that zombie virus get to other continents and countries? Because normally you have to die for the infection to take place. So are you then implying that an infected dead person was on a plane or a ship or something, or had some vector to get across the, like?
Yeah, no, it's like it depends. I mean, I'm thinking so the Resident Evil series, in that universe, the virus is airborne and you can be infected with it, but it only takes effect when you die. And that's like the primary transmission.
Yes, like in The Walking Dead, where everybody's infected, but it only takes effect when you die. So it could have just spread everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like it's that, and then they make a big deal about, like in the real world, viruses spread through travel, especially airports.
Exactly. That's like our greatest. I mean, the thing about, like, if they, I was watching a documentary, and they were basically describing like the Spanish flu, that the World War I era Spanish flu. If we had that today with our modern air travel system, we'd be fucked.
Oh, no. We're still going to get there. Don't worry, because climate change, or whatever the politically correct term is causing permafrost areas to melt, and it's exposing like 10,000-year-old viruses that we probably don't have immunity for anymore. And some of them, I think I might be misremembering, but there was a thing about dead bodies infected with the Spanish flu were frozen over and are now being defrosted again. So there's like the pieces are there for like another Spanish flu outbreak. So you might see your very perverse wish play out in your lifetime.
I'm one of the few people who hate the idea of oh, and by the way, thanks for making a Twitter account for the show. Just need like an intro now.
You know what,
catchphrase.
If I could, I would, but I don't know if Hangouts, if just Hangouts format will work for that. But anyway, yes, we have an account now. At NoScript Show.
My issue with like the zombie outbreak scenario, I don't like it. Like everyone's like, it's so great. So you and I get it. Like on a philosophical level, I understand why people fantasize about the zombie outbreak situation, because on a philosophical level, it's not so much about horror or anything like that. It's about reinvention, because you, as this person, get to reinvent yourself, because most of everyone you knew and most of everything you knew is dead and gone. And you get to be whoever you want in this new world where there's barely anyone.
Sure.
And you get to and that's what appeals to people on the most basic level about zombie outbreaks, about any sort of like Fallout series of games, like that post-apocalyptic scenario. I get that's why people love it, but
obviously, They don't understand statistics because 9 times out of 10, the thing they turn into is a zombie. I mean, that's
Exactly.
how, like, that's the thing. I mean, chances are, if anyone's going to survive, it's like the military and then like everyone else. You know,
Military personnel, likely, or people with any sort of survival skills. You know, like
yeah, it's like it goes down the picking order, but like eventually, just you, the out of shape office worker with no weapons, no training, you're a
exactly.
zombie, dude. I'm sorry.
Whoa. I do have my weapons, okay?
I
On
know,
me.
dude.
It's-
Between you and me, you're more likely to be like one of the ragtag survivors scavenging the game for.
I mean,
Like,
I got my handgun right here, just out of frame. So yeah.
yeah, just be careful that if you wave that, the algorithm might catch you and then block you from Google, and you really don't need that.
Well, apparently, as a black man, I cannot say the word Negro on Twitter
Oh
anymore.
shit! You
So,
said it. The algorithm is
let's
coming, dude.
discuss
I'm
that.
just gonna disconnect now, but I don't want to be caught up in this. I don't think it was Negro. I think it was the context of like the rest of the tweet. You did use a bunch of trigger words, I'm sure, and it's like the automated system just dinged you.
But I thought Twitter doesn't take action against black people.
Honest to God, I thought so too, because it's like I get again, it's like Twitter's a global network, but they're headquartered in like San Francisco, and there's a very specific politics there and all the rest. So I'm like, I'm kind of surprised, really, to be
It was
completely
probably
honest.
like it balanced that, and then it like picked up the word conservative libertarian in my Twitter
Yes.
profile, and there's like ah.
Yes. You see, if you had said liberal, I think you might have gotten away with it. Oh man, hasn't Twitter's user growth flatlined yet? Like,
Surely it has to at some point.
because I mean, like the only real thing that's entertaining on Twitter anymore is American politics. I mean, honestly.
And moth memes.
Okay, you got to explain the moth memes thing to me.
I fucking love moth memes. They're amazing. It's just
If I search moth memes, what am I likely to find? Is
hey
it
man,
just...
depends on your search history, bruh.
So what is it? Oh, okay. They okay, I see what you mean. Okay, I get you. I'm looking at this one, and it is really freaking stupid, but I get it. I see the meme now. It's in the chat link there.
By the way, this might be late to ask, but did we actually post the link to the show online?
On Twitter, yeah, I did.
Oh, did you? Okay. Not that it matters because everybody's going to be watching like either like the UFC fight or like the Kavanaugh confirmation. So
yeah, and it's like between the two, I don't know who's going to come off worse. Like one dude in a UFC ring, or like half the continent of America, because this Kavanaugh thing has been a wild ride. My God, absolutely wild. Like, you know what the crazy thing is for me about this? He is a right-leaning judge. Like it's not even a contest. He's been like a judge since like 2006. Like 2 minutes on his Wikipedia page, and you look at all his decisions. It's like the dude's biased. Like it's fucking clear. And on that basis alone, you can argue that he's probably not the best judge to put in there. And everyone on the Republican side would agree with that assessment. He's not the best judge to put in there. But it escalated all the way into this like insane culture thing. And
you know what would have been a better case for Democrats if they didn't want? I personally want him there just for the lulz. Just for the lulz. Why do you think I'm drinking beer instead of whiskey today?
I was going to ask.
I personally want him there just for the kicks, and just for the lulz and for the absolute bullshit that they dragged this man through for a job interview.
It's crazy because, again, in the real world, two things can be true, right? He can be a bad judge and he can be attacked. But
But the thing is, my thing is with being right or left leaning is that everybody's inevitably right or left leaning. You get very few centralists. So I don't think him being right leaning is a good disqualification factor. I think if you really wanted to disqualify him,
So that yeah, it's
disqualify
working.
him, his biggest disqualifying factor would have been his assault on the Fourth Amendment. That would have been like a good argument. But no.
But you can't put a disheveled woman in a courtroom to defend that. Like, honestly, did you see, like, in the last 30 minutes, it emerged that Ford is not going to pursue any further criminal charges against him. Like,
shock!
What?
Surprise! In other news, McDonald's sells cheeseburgers and water is wet.
But it's also, but I'm like, I'm trying to process the tactics here, because obviously it's a political shit show. That's a given. But wouldn't, like, if this is a real thing, which they insisted that it is, wouldn't pursuing that and getting him like arrested and kicked out of the Supreme Court be like a huge victory? Why wouldn't you pursue that? I don't get it. These guys are playing like sixth dimensional chess in a way that like doesn't make sense to me at all. Oh God.
No, really, I don't know. I don't mind him on the Supreme Court. My biggest worry with him is his assault on the Fourth Amendment. That worries me. But aside from that, fuck it. Let him be on the Supreme Court.
So let me do something that most journalists and pundits don't do nowadays. Let me actually look up what the Fourth Amendment is, so that I know.
The Fourth Amendment is the American amendment that disallows the unwarranted search or seizure. I can't remember the exact word. You know what the funny thing is? Okay, with my various studies and stuff, at this point, obviously I'm looking at universities here and a couple of universities in the US. I probably at this point know more about US history and the Constitution and all that than a lot of actual people who grew up. The Fourth Amendment is a search and seizure thing, and the reason people are saying it's he's assaulted the Fourth Amendment is because he considers the government's metadata collection program to be okay, which it's clearly a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You can Google its exact wording, but basically it protects you from unwarranted search and seizure.
I have to link that Twitter. Gab just posted that. I don't know who these people are that do Photoshop, but God bless them.
What's this?
So I don't know if that means he's actually now been voted in. Let me just.
Yes.
Because they say set to win, poised to win, and I'm assuming the internet will melt down when he wins. So I don't know.
Keg City counter. I actually like him, dude. Like as a dude who enjoys a good drink myself, I actually like him. He's like the total bro that I would have partied with in varsity. So fuck it.
Yeah.
And I love how in the last 10 years, the Republican Party have just become total gangsters. Like between Cocaine Mitch, Keg City Canada, and Donald fucking Trump, the Republican Party has just become the most gangster party on planet Earth, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so the vote will take, the window starts in the next 5 minutes, but within the next hour, we'll know.
So nobody will be watching this. Awesome. So we can make all the jokes we want.
Yeah. We'll feed Google's algorithm so that they know how to classify us later on, as people that care about the facts behind things, not just. Oh, just incidentally, so you mentioned like knowing more about U.S. history and law than most Americans. You know what's always been weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the American citizenship entry exam and what you actually have to know, and you have to know a bit about how the country was founded, the way the government works, the rights, the liberties, etc., in order to naturalize as a citizen. That is basic information that everyone should know. And so it's kind of weird to me that you get automatic citizenship just because you were born there without having to know anything about the country you're in, meaning that the immigrants who come in are more American than the actual Americans because they have to go through that process.
Well, the legal immigrants anyway.
Right. Okay. I'm shorthanding for legal. Illegal. Yeah, different story. But still, I mean, that's just kind of, it's wild to me. I mean, that is an immense privilege, being able you get American citizenship just because that's where you popped out. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it's that lack of civics, which is why we have a celebrity from a shitty TV show running like the most powerful office in the world.
I loved it. Like I actually remember I was in my office the morning the election results came in.
Oh man.
And I was thinking, shit, should I bet on this thing? Because I mean, in terms of big data, the Americans rarely go Democrat or Republicans 3 times on a strut, right?
Right.
It's 90%. Okay, I don't know the actual number, but if you look at the big data trend, it's usually Democrat, Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat, Democrat, and so on and so forth. So, excuse me, except for I think, who was it? Was it Woodrow Wilson, who is like the closest America's ever come to having an American dictator, because he was like 3 terms, and then he was going for a 4th term.
Wow. Okay, I didn't. But that must have been hundreds of years ago then.
No, it was during World War II.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a gap in my knowledge. Good
because he took advantage of the whole wartime situation. It's like, okay, cool, 3rd.
Hang on. Do you mean like the plot of Star Wars with the Chancellor? Like, I mean,
yeah, actually, he is basically Chancellor Palpatine. Wilson's Chancellor Palpatine, except Palpatine never went to Yale. So, no, wait, Wilson didn't go to Yale. He didn't go to Yale. My bad. Sorry, I really hope I'm actually applying this. I really hope nobody hears you say that.
So you're applying to what is now undoubtedly the party school of the Supreme Court. I mean, isn't that what this boils down to?
No, the best party school in America has got to be the University of Michigan.
Okay. You see, the thing is, I'm expecting updates. If you get into
Michigan places, State.
If you get into one of these places, I'm expecting updates, like a crazy Instagram feed of whatever the algorithm will let you post without banning you. Damn. Did you have to delete that post before Twitter would let you back on?
Yes.
Damn. Yeah, my condolences. It's never nice when the algorithm nabs you.
Right. And after all these years of saying artificial intelligence is not bad, guys, I would know. I'm an expert. I suppose we should actually talk tech at some point in this podcast. Like,
I don't know if I want to, because it's all depressing. Like, I am so sick of blockchain. I can't take another blockchain post. I can't. It's amazing, actually. I'm wondering what the next thing is going to be. The next bullshit technology that'll be pushed so hard. Because
you know what the bullshit technology is, though? The easiest way to determine what the bullshit technology is the technology whose name you hear brought up the most by the senior executive in the company who knows the least about tech. Like the manager that uses that word the most, who knows the least about tech, you know that's the most bullshit technology of the time.
I should actually hang on. Let me check the Bitcoin price. Maybe it's not bad. Yeah, so in technology, I guess, / finance. I'm still waiting for Tether to crash. I don't know if you follow the crypto trading at all.
At the moment, not really.
So basically, the contention is that Bitcoin's price growth and the main mechanism popping it up is this sort of wildcat currency with no government backing it, that purports to be equal to a US dollar but isn't, that refuses to be audited, that keeps hopping banks, and that most recently opened up an account at HSBC without getting a money transmission license. It's basically these guys are jumping from system to system trying to keep this coin, Tether, in circulation. The moment it crashes, that should have a ripple effect on everything else. And I'm waiting. It's a lot like, what was that movie? I think it was The Big Short, about the financial crisis. I don't know if you...
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's almost as if having a large centralized government that has control of your currency is a bad idea.
Possibly, but like in that movie, there was because there was the whole thing. There was the sort of genius recluse. It was a Christian Bale, I think, playing like the trader guy, who was like the sort of finance nerd, and then there was like the lawyer who saw an opportunity, and then there were the two guys who were doing the trading. And there's a point where this, math genius works out that the home loan bubble is going to burst and it's going to crash tremendously, and he makes a bet against the market. And there's a point in the movie where it's like it should have crashed by now. I don't understand. Because the banks kept propping it up, and then eventually that gave way, and the whole thing came tumbling down. That's where Bitcoin is right now, as far as I'm concerned. We're all waiting for the big crash. But yeah, that's the limit of the amount of care I have for anything blockchain related right now. I can't take any more.
I can see like the depression and the sadness in your eyes.
The ratio of bullshit to implementation is just too high. I mean, even big data, like when big data was the buzzword, it's like, buy.
You know what blockchain is right now? Like, in all honesty, blockchain is that one dude.
It's Farmville for finance nerds. Sorry.
No, blockchain is that one dude in high school who could not stop talking about how many girls he hooked up with at the last house party and how huge his penis is and how he's totally going to get onto the A team of rugby next week. They're just waiting to give him trials. That's what Bitcoin is at this point.
Yeah.
It's that dude.
It's like all brag, no substance. Yeah. No, but like even because the thing is like,
and it hurts the libertarian in me. It really hurts the libertarian in me to see it go down the street.
No, because like this is the thing, right? I mean, for as long as I can remember, people have been saying, fiat currencies will crash, and I remember from like when I was still a kid, like you should buy gold and precious metals and seeds and shit because the collapse is coming, and it just hasn't come. And this Bitcoin thing was like, okay, here's a brand new market, a brand new way of thinking about money, the libertarian wet dream. You get to design whatever financial system you want.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. That had me hard when I saw the
same because
I was just
dude, same because I'm like, okay, I mean, the irony is South Africa has much better banks than the US does on like almost every metric. It's kind of crazy. So I don't see the need for like a transactional system improvement, but I do understand, global trade and this whole moving money instantly thing. That's actually pretty cool. And I thought for years, these people have said, if we just had the chance to reinvent the system, we could build a better system. And I'm like, here's your chance. And it turned into a huge scam. And it's just like, I can't, that's part of what makes me sad. I wanted to be in the future where all the money was internet money. That's where I wanted to be.
Me too, bro.
It's, I mean, like for like a couple of weeks, I did some work for a guy who traveled a lot, but he paid for that work in Ethereum, and it was the first time that I actually saw the system in progress. He pushed stuff from his wallet to mine, and I sold it. And I'm like, this is like the basic use case for blockchain, and it's already as sophisticated as like the most powerful international remittance system. This is actually pretty cool, but then it just became a bunch of conferences and scams, and now it's all about the price again. It hurts. It hurts me, man.
Deep down.
Oh shit! I think haven't I got through?
Do you get through?
Senate confirms Brett Kavanaugh as a Supreme Court justice. 4 minutes.
Yes, King City Kavanaugh.
Oh my god. Dude,
that tasty beer.
So, okay, Twitter is about to blow up, right? Because all the people that are like right-leaning, I try and follow both sides just because that is the world.
I mean, my compass. I'm more sort of bottom right quadrants.
Yeah. I try to remain as central as I can. It's just sometimes the leftists make it really hard to keep track of their arguments. But all the lawyers and the right-wing folk on my feed are like, awesome. So we're in for another week of this.
Yeah, Kavanaugh memes.
Actually, Kavanaugh, right, let's search Twitter because I'm sure within about 10 seconds there's going to be photos and we'll just wait. I'll just leave that open and we'll see what comes in. Dude, that's crazy though. That is crazy. I mean, I guess the thing that I appreciate about this, even if he's like not a great judge, due process still works. Like under the toughest contention I think this process has ever faced, they still carried on with the process. So at least there's that.
Well, I mean,
oh shit!
Again, this goes back to my question of he's more right leaning. I don't think he's extremely right. Excuse me, sorry. By any, I think there's far more. My question goes back to the thing is, if somebody is right or who would you find that's perfectly central? There's almost nobody. Everybody these days is either right or left leaning. So I don't think somebody being right or left leaning is a good argument against them being on the Supreme Court. Like,
no, for sure. And it's like, but isn't the point like the Supreme Court? You kind of want both. I mean, you want to represent the best of the thought around what the Constitution means.
And this is why I respect Senator Lindsey Graham, because he voted for what is it, Sotomayor and that other chickie,
that's true.
Kagan, who are rampantly left. They are both far more left than Kavanaugh is right. They are horrendously left, and he's still like Lindsey Graham is like. He's like the human version of milk. He's that mild. He's the mildest Republican on planet Earth. And I mean that with love because he's a cool guy, or at least he seems to be. So I love how much of an absolute gangster he's become in the last few years because it's amazing.
But I mean, because look, I remember I've seen again sort of all the things about Graham through like the filter of left-wing media, right? And they kind of portray him as like this sort of mild-mannered, almost like fainting woman type of person who doesn't have very strong opinions. And then I saw there was a clip with him calling out, I said, this is the most despicable thing I've seen in all my time in politics.
I loved it. It's hashtag Graham slam.
No, but I saw that and I'm like, okay, shit. I mean, if people are saying this type of thing, there's a lot of pressure in that room. And, it's obviously built up to this insane degree that, oh, wow. But there we have it. So the fracturing of America continues because obviously now.
I don't know if you watched like the Daily Wire.
No, don't think so.
But there's a couple. I'm just gonna copy this link to this tweet just so you can just see how glorious it is. It's just again, obviously, I'm a little more biased because I'm like bottom right quadrant, so like libertarian, but sort of right leaning. It's just, it's just glorious. It's just, I'm legit about to go. I'm legit about to put on my MAGA hat and go to the closest bar just to piss off everyone. It is amazing, and I love it, and it is tasty.
But okay, like this I will give them 100% because it's been a leftist meme for years to like, the mugs with like, men's tears or whatever. So like Daily Wire earned this one. That is fair. But that ASCII art though, that's glorious.
Keg City Kavanaugh.
So what was the 100 kegs thing? Because I know that meme, but I don't know where it comes from.
It's from his yearbook where he said he was the secretary of the Keg City Club. Sorry, secretary or treasurer of the Keg City Club, 100 kegs or bust. And I just put that as my...
and that became a thing, didn't it? Like they probably try to use that as evidence that he's like this drunken rapist or something.
Like, yeah, he drank a lot. Dude, if somebody used my drinking record in varsity against me, I wouldn't have ever had a job. Legit would never.
Nobody would. Like literally.
From age like 18 to like 20, 22, 23, like my drinking was horrendous. From 18 to like those 5 years, like horrendous drinking.
But also in a way like there's so much wrong with the assertion that you drank in high school, therefore that impinges your moral character for the rest of your life. No. What? No. Oh my god.
Oh
I
no, he's
ah. And it's like writing dumb shit in your yearbook. That's what it's there for. It's you know, I don't. I don't understand.
I mean, in my high school, we did. I don't know if you did this in your school, but we had this thing on in at the end of matric where you like signed each other's school
Oh
T-shirts and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, like everybody's shirt was signed with dumb shit. I guarantee you, if I can't even find my shirt, but if you went and found everyone's shirt right now, you'd find all sorts of dumb, horrible shit on the guy's shirts. Why? Because you are teenage boys.
That yes, you know, like a part of me actually wants to say like, no, you know what? Go for it. Investigate this. Like nail him. Find him. All the people who drank. All the people that they knew who drank. And just like investigate everyone. And then once you've like gotten rid of 299 million people, because that's what it'll be, the million that are left, the most boring people you can find, put them in charge of things. See how that works out. Except that it won't. Because I'm pretty sure the people that didn't drink smoked weed. So like there's probably like maybe 3 people in the States that have never used the substance. And they're probably all like crazy
That's,
left
by the way,
leaning.
why I'm right leaning but libertarian, not right leaning but traditional right leaning, because
Yeah,
I just when they get into their whole thing like, oh, it's the devil's lettuce, I'm just like, fucking hell, people.
Wait, is that
like,
a thing? Did they actually the devil's lettuce? Is that what they?
That's, well, in the 50s it was, but there's still a lot of like modern conservatives who are just so anti-weed. And like, honestly, okay, look, I couldn't care less what you inject into your body. My thing is I'm against legislating my morality to other people. So that's why I'm a right-leaning libertarian as opposed to a right sort of
Yeah, like a left-leaning conservative. I think
Republican
is the other
type.
one.
So I'm just like when the likes of people like Steven Crowder or whatever go on their whole tirade of, oh, weed is just this terrible. I'm just like, fuck off, dude. Like, and I enjoy some of his skits, but I'm just like, dude, let it go.
Yeah, no, it's
Let it
like
go. It's tired. Just fucking let it go. Like,
it's like you lost this one, move on. No,
yeah.
it's because you're right. It's like, you know, you don't care what people inject into their bodies. It's what people try to inject into my body against my will. That's like the real issue. Like if this was a thing where people ran around just randomly injecting people with heroin, I might have a problem with it.
That I would have a problem with that too.
Just, you know, like, okay. But also just calling it the devil's lettuce obviously means that you don't understand what weed is, because you don't just eat it raw. Like, you don't, yeah, and you don't smoke lettuce either. My God. Dude, you're bringing back these flashbacks of like, because I grew up in a very Christian sort of environment, right? Parents, community, all the rest. And there was like a couple of months where some people visited from the States and they brought with them the moral panic of Dungeons and Dragons. Because you know that Christians just don't like that shit.
Which is weird because nowadays it's actually not a problem for most Christians.
Yeah, because
that I know, at least, anyway.
I mean, technically, Dungeons and Dragons is on par with like the Bible in terms of veracity. So I don't know why you'd have a problem with it.
In terms of, sorry?
Well, you know, Dungeons and Dragons is all just campaigns and narratives, kind of like the Bible.
Fair enough.
You know, if you want to get worked up about books in general, you know, no, but like I just remember like there were these cartoons that were published about how, you know, this kid tries D&D and it like changes his life and he learns how to cast actual spells and sells his soul to the devil. And honest to God, I read that and I was like, holy shit, I need to know what this is because it looks like fun. So obviously I was not the right target audience for that material.
I actually met a girl a couple of weeks ago, just after my graduation, who I don't know if this is a thing in Cape Town, but in Pretoria we have these night market things that I go to pretty often, like lots of food trucks and like a couple of live bands, like at a school and stuff, and you go to like their main field and shit. And I met a girl at the bar who's actually a teacher, and she plays Dungeons. She still plays pencil and paper Dungeons and Dragons.
Old school.
Excuse
Yeah.
me, which I respected quite a bit. And I thought, wow, this is a very cool girl. And I almost wanted to go on a date with her, except that I didn't have like a body camera to protect myself from like Me Too accusations. So I had to pass. I'm just kidding. I don't date anymore because I just don't have the body camera I can't protect myself anymore. So I just don't date anymore.
You know, so you just reminded me of one of the most absurd threads in feminist theory. So you know that sex bots are a thing, right? We want to talk technology, right? So let's talk about this.
Are we an actual tech podcast now?
We're applied
People keep
technology.
messaging me. Hold on. Let me just. Yeah, I just disabled the data on my phone. Okay, cool. Continue.
So sex bots are a thing, right? I mean, and they're getting better every year. And there is a future on the horizon where you'll be able to buy these and customize them and they will perform their functions. I saw a line of feminist argument that said that sex robots were disempowering because they removed women from the whole equation. And I'm like, isn't that what you've been trying to do for the last 10 years? You've been explicitly trying. So I don't know why you're upset. No, but it's obviously it was just this absolute crazy argument against it. But the thing is, the fear that men now have, especially in the States, in these left-leaning areas.
Oh, by the way,
date
here's
is
another
real.
tweet for the Kavanaugh confirmation. Sorry, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do
My
it.
mate, Conscious Caracal.
Check this out. Nice.
It is a real fear. That's why I said. Like, I mean, it was a joke about the whole meeting the girl thing. I mean, obviously, I did actually meet a girl who played it. But my point with that joke is that, like, nowadays, now, I'm technically single at the moment, and I am fucking frightened of going on dates with girls. I am absolutely frightened of going on dates with girls. And you know, I have a very close relationship with my mother, and I've discussed this at length with her. You know, Sunday dinner, that sort of thing, and basically, she just said to me, I would not like to be a man in your time, because
that beer's coming.
Go on a date with a girl, like and I explained it like obviously, I mean, I just finished up my master's, so obviously I'm not on campus very often, but like even just being on campus, just saying hello to girls, just
no. And the thing is, like, there was
it fucking freaks me out. I'm not even kidding. Jokes aside, it freaks me out. I'm scared.
So like. And there was a psychologist who, it's crazy that we're now starting to depend on alternative media for actually getting information. Because when I grew up, alternative media were people that couldn't string together an argument to get it into the mainstream press, and so they were kind of loons. But now the mainstream press are the loons, and it's the alternative media that's actually bringing the facts. One of them was a relationship counselor somewhere in LA, who said that over the last few years, she's seen an uptick in, like, you know, adolescent men who are terrified of dating on campus because of all this shit going on. And instead of doing anything, they're just retreating. So like that's a real thing. It's not just you. I mean, you'll never hear about it because they would kind of say, you know, maybe this isn't a good idea to push this affirmative consent thing. That was the main thing that drove this. So no, it's real, and it sucks, and it's kind of crazy that South Africa has imported that. You know, it's like,
well, when the United States sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold, and this happens, and people thought, and people. The weird thing about that is that people thought that applied to economics. I believe it applies to everything about the United States.
No, because
everything. I mean,
no, it is everything.
Everything about the United States. It's just slang, culture, pop culture, everything we just imported en masse.
So here's the thing, right? And that's true because we live in a post-World War II planet where America won, and
well, technically, Allies won.
Yeah. Also, technically, Japan had worse war crimes than Germany, but we don't talk about that either.
That's because the alt-right loves them Japanese women's. They love their women white, except if they're Japanese, and then that's okay as well.
Yeah. But like, so this is insane. I think this map is actually a couple years out of date. That JPEG I posted. But post World War II, America has a military presence sort of everywhere in the world. And on that foundation, on top of that, they've got diplomatic and trade agreements, which drives economic agreements, which then on top of that drives all the trade and the culture and entertainment that comes on top of that. So I grew up in South Africa, but I feel more at home in American culture than I do local culture. As an example, it's like effectively they sort of colonized our entertainment landscape
I know.
with their values and their perspectives. I mean, so yes.
Assuming life extension technology happens in our time, like real affordable life extension and life enhancement technology, we will be alive to say to kids in 2 generations' time, hey, I was alive when the American empire rose to prominence.
Yeah, and we were also alive to see it fall apart.
And I don't know if they manage to pull out of too many wars, then they might actually be able to hold on to that.
Maybe. So anyway, in terms of life extension, just as a good link,
I'm repping for the Americans, and that has nothing to do with my college applications.
No, but even there, it's like, again, it's like you would consider that over like a Russian or a Japanese college. It probably wouldn't even occur to you to try and study.
Well, I would consider nothing over a Japanese college. Let's stop right there, fam.
Okay.
A man would love to be called Onishan studying the random girl. Sorry, no, even better, a Korean college, like a South Korean college.
Oh my god. Okay, sure.
So Japanese, no, don't. Yes. Okay. Factor Japan out of that, but yes.
But honestly, like if you, but hang on. Aren't there colleges?
Okay, I'm now 4 beers deep. Yeah.
Aren't they anglicizing a bit in terms of language? Because Japan is like an actual workforce problem. They need to start importing people.
I volunteer as tribute.
It's not really tribute if you get something out of the deal. Come on. But yes, no, it's like they're, I think between the Hello Kitty memes and the body pillows, their fertility rate has entered below 1. And so they kind of need people to move in.
I volunteer as tribute.
Well, hey, check it out. Maybe there's a future for you in the Far East. I just wanted to drop another link for life extension. There's Calico Labs. It's the California Life Extension Company. California Life Company, sorry, they renamed. They are looking into that exact thing. One of many. But
just to be clear, let's just delineate this. Are we talking about life extension or life enhancement? As in more years versus enhancing the quality of your years?
That is like the question for the ages. But what I remember,
I mean, essentially, and again, I'm looking at it from a very sort of computer science, mathematical perspective, is that I presume life extension versus life enhancement or life quality enhancement is basically like a sort of optimization problem where you need to find the Pareto curve there, where you're trying to sort of see the compromise between 2 conflicting things, versus making your last few years better versus giving you more few years.
It's finding
the sweet spot between those 2 objectives.
There's a lot of equilibrium mathematics behind this. Like my favorite one, right, is, and I'm still kind of ambiguous on the should we even be doing this question, because all the people that argue for life extension, CG Pugray on YouTube pushes for it constantly. Immortality, effectively. We should be able to live forever. Cool. Problem. It won't be evenly distributed is the problem. So all the rich connected people get it first, assuming it's some kind of process, right? So, the California tech billionaire gets it way before the poor sort of African, what do they call them? Street vendor. right? I mean, obviously they're not going to both get it at the same time. And the moment you start doing that, don't you set up like this whole new type of stratification where, you know, elites just enter this whole new phase of like living forever, while the rest of people don't? And doesn't that change a lot in the way your economics and your security works? Which apparently is not a concern to these people. It's just like, no, we want to live forever. So, okay. Which you can't ultimately. I mean, there is entropy and the universe will end. So ultimately, it's game over.
Or will it?
You know what? All available science says it will.
Can we break the laws of thermodynamics before the universe ends? Can we? I think we might, actually. We just might. I think there's a tiny chance we either will find a way to break it, or we will find a way to preserve ourselves, as in maybe figure out there's another universe we could travel to, or just we will find a loophole at the end there.
Maybe.
Because that's humanity's ultimate superpower. Our ultimate superpower is we just find a way. That's humanity's superpower.
Unfortunately, all that will survive of you and me is this recording on some database a million years from now.
Okay, I don't know about you, but my consciousness is getting uploaded into an AI.
Dude, yeah. That's also a whole topic of conversation because
it's my area of specialization.
Is that what you're gonna do? Are you actually pushing for this, like as your thing?
Well, I mean, that's what not purely AI, but that's largely what my master's dissertation involved in optimization and things like that. So,
okay.
So I'm not averse to AI in any way or form, but yeah.
No, it's cool. It's just the consciousness upload thing. I think we're going to find out the hard way that the information that drives a person's personality is contextual to the body it lives in, and there's a whole bunch of shit you can't copy across, and we're going to find that out in a very, very brutal fashion. Assuming we ever
go on. Like, I'm interested in this.
No, like for example, there are people that gain and lose habits before and after organ transplants. Like, it's this weird thing in medicine where, like, there's documented cases where, like, somebody receives a liver transplant and then they pick up a habit they never had before, which makes no sense. There's cases of people's personality and memory recall changing when they lose limbs. People's entire self-image changes if their face gets scarred over anything else. There's this very strong connection between who you are, what you think it, how you remember it, and the physical nature of your body. They are connected. It's not just that your brain floats inside your head. It's integrated. So you can copy out the information, maybe. You can replicate the synapses, but you can't replicate the electrochemical state of a brain constantly in a way that would be natural. Yeah. So I think it's like you'd make a shallow copy of a person. It would maybe it wouldn't even have the same memories, because memory is not a static thing. You reinterpret memory as you move through time. So it's like what you'd end up with is someone that maybe sounds like you and has some of your personality quirks, but can't learn or grow, will lose a lot of contextual memory, and will probably never change as a person either, because our mechanism for growth is hardwired into our biology, not just the electrical patterns in our brains. So for that whole reason, it's like you can only upload a human consciousness into a brain that behaves the same as the brain you have now, and it would then be a successful transfer. That's my theory, based on the shit we've seen. So it's like,
so that's your solution to the sort of philosophical ship of Theseus.
Well, put it this way. I mean, we've had computer hardware for a couple of decades now. The human brain is still a more durable machine than most computers. Like, silicon degrades faster than human neurons do. You know, like before you can do consciousness transfer, you have to figure out how to replicate the container for it. And you know, that's a whole tough question. But I think if you wax that, if you're able to create synthetic material to physically carry your consciousness, and it's a durable thing that doesn't age and doesn't break down, then you're onto something. I think that then you'll.
Okay, that's fair.
That's me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's your solution to the whole philosophical ship of Theseus argument.
Yeah, you need the whole package. I mean, I think more than that, it's
and of course, obviously, yeah. My thing is, again, the greatest
I think I lost you. Well, that's the end of the show because apparently his internet went down. Dude, your internet's going down.
Sorry?
I think your internet's going down. I lost you there for about 20 seconds.
Oh yeah. My greatest argument against it, I mean, obviously people like, oh, it's an interruption of consciousness. Like you can't teleport, you can't upload something. But I'm like, well, as I tweeted a while ago, when you sleep, basically your consciousness is interrupted. When you wake up, there's no objective way to prove the you that went to sleep is the you that wakes up.
But also, it's like
another thing. Yep. Sorry, yeah, and then I guess if you want to take a more sort of philosophical, spiritual tone to it, is that, you know, in most religions there is a belief in an eternal human soul. So it doesn't matter what you destroy around that. There's that sort of thing. So there's those two arguments. Yeah.
No, there's interesting. So CGP Grey has his YouTube channel, and every now and then he does a crossover video with Kursgesagt. It's this optimistic nihilist channel. They do very good animations.
I actually subscribe to Kursgesagt and CGP Grey, even though sometimes his videos piss me off. Like, I want to have a boxing match with him. I'm really going to regret that if this actually becomes a big YouTube thing, if we become a big YouTube, and he turns out to be like this, like this 600 kg roid monkey. I'm going to die today.
No, he was like a university teacher. There's not a lot of overlap between them and like UFC fighters. I think he'll be okay.
You'd be surprised how many ripped dudes you'd see on campus these days, bro.
Maybe that's where all the energy that they would have gone into dating is not going into the gym. Maybe that's.
I am selling body cams from now on for dating, for single guys. Body cams for single guys.
I just had a horrible thought, because this whole problem created by the left would be best solved by building the most capable and pervasive surveillance state in history, which is also not a good thing. So one problem makes another worse. That's where we are. Oh my God. I can't even.
It's actually a horrifying thought, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it is. I guess on the plus side, technology makes it easier to colonize like empty spaces, and someday Musk will take us into space. So maybe we can just fuck off out of here in like 50 years.
So he can get back to his home planet of Mars.
I think, no, Elon Musk, with between his tweets and his like weed on web streams, I'm pretty sure it's not Mars. I think he's from further out.
You reckon?
Yeah, like we're talking like Io or Ganymede, like a moon of Jupiter type thing. I'm sure Mars is still quite reasonable. Did you see he got fined? Was it like he got fined $20 million, and he has to step down as chairman of Tesla, and Tesla has to now oversee his social media communication. So they just completely kind of castrated him on social media.
Donald Trump is still allowed to tweet whatever the hell he wants. Isn't that weird? And that's not like an anti or pro Trump thing. I just think it's an interesting.
It's just an observation. Yeah, you know, like Twitter could honestly make the world a better place if they just blocked Donald Trump, but they won't, because like they claim the free speech argument, and he's an important person.
Screw that! I love Trump tweets. I fucking love Trump tweets.
And that's the exact reason why they keep him, because he is one of the biggest drivers of engagement on the platform. People go there just to hate tweet at him.
Or to love tweet him.
Although, I don't know. I think both sides look more like bots. Oh my God. All right, so I think we've gone for about an hour. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because I think when those beers really kick in, you're going to start saying things that your future self will regret. Although if they keep changing the context, everything we've just said now will be problematic by 2023. So, you know, I will be guilty of the crime of being a white male on camera. And what will you be guilty of in 5 years? Just pick out your tombstone now.
Guilty of I don't know, being pro dating. Yeah, dating is
It's such a heteropatriarchal norm that you're.
or guilty of hold on, saying something nice about Lindsey Graham. There we go.
No. Saying something nice. No, you know what? You'll be guilty of hearing the word Trump and not reflexively shouting. Like proper Orwell 2 minutes of hate, like that level of just
go.
that's the thing. What was that meme? There was a Trump was giving some speech and there was a dude like 2 rows back who was like, what's this? And then like during the speech they just quietly replaced him with someone who was like, yes. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh my God, we are living in 1984. I can't fucking believe they took that as an instruction manual. I don't believe this, but it's true.
This was meant to be a warning, not an instruction manual.
I think that's why this adversarial content doesn't work. If you produce a guide telling people what not to do, you just give wrong people the idea to do it. Oh my God. Okay. I'm loving the tweets here.
What tweets are these now?
I'm watching a bunch of blue chicks disagree with each other. It's just always entertaining. It's like these vanguards of moral purity on Twitter. Someone just tweeted about the fact that a guy was defending Ford and a girl was defending Kavanaugh, and that broke the room, apparently.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, I will link this to you because it is worth pointing out. This will be the last link of today. Just that, and then the first response is like everything.
Well, obviously, if you defend, if as a guy you defend what's her face Ford hard enough, all the girls that have friend zoned you will suddenly see what a consummate gentleman you are, and they must come over with you tonight.
Yes, because obviously your sense of justice is why they friend zoned you, of course, and not that you're a loser or a creep. I mean, So, quote, this girl next to me at brunch is defending Kavanaugh. Her boyfriend is defending Ford. Boy says, I think we should believe survivors and take allegations seriously.
Her boyfriend is a girlfriend.
It discourages other women to come forward, if we shoot them down. And girl was like, I don't think it matters what he did at that age. And then the next response by the person who tweeted it, quote, I've never been more uncomfortable sitting next to another woman at brunch. And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
By the way, hashtag thanks white people for brunch. That's some good culture there.
Oh shit, best one I saw. Someone tweeted about cultural appropriation, and it says, they say, quote, they say white people have no culture, but I just got invited to a gender reveal party for a dog, and I'm sure we didn't appropriate that from anyone.
Oh, my tweet was about my tweet is people out here saying white people are appropriating when they cook from other cultures, yet we go to brunch like we're not appropriating white culture. So,
oh my God. Oh, and just FYI, the girl that posted being this uncomfortable next to another woman, not that I'm saying it means anything, but she has the Snapchat filter with the dog ears, which is
okay, we get it. You have daddy issues. Jeez, like originally the I have like when you're at a bar and you're looking for the girl to bullseye with daddy issues, it used to be like a nose ring or like
a punk thing, right? Like counterculture, yeah.
Or like a stereotypical like heart arrow tattoo somewhere, but now it's just like look at her face and look at like try to find her Insta. If she's got the doggy filter, that's the daddy issues signal right there. Just
I guess we should be grateful to these technology companies for making it that easy to figure people out. Just give them all the rope to hang themselves with in public, and then you have the data. Nice and simple. All right, dude, it's been fun. So hang on, we need to do this more regularly now. It's been my fault that we haven't done this, and we need to try and do it.
Well, if you want to take the blame, that's fine. I'm not gonna stop you.
I will appropriate the blame for this, not everything, just this.
We'll do something next week.
I was the cause of our 2-month apart date, and I'm sorry. I will apologize for that. But I've now expropriated some more free time, and we can do this I think once a week.
Sounds good to me, bro.
Yeah, I do enjoy the Saturday thing though. Like the weeks are always just insane.
Mm.
I'm out there busy colonizing source code repos and you know doing God's work, trying to make software function. I've got a
I think it's colonized. No, just no. No, I'm not encouraging that.
yeah, no, and you shouldn't. You're right. You really shouldn't. No, I had a run in with a SJW today, and they always rattle me a little bit. I hate seeing so much wasted potential. What can I say? All right.
All right, cool, bro.
Dude, have a good one. And for like the 2 people who maybe watched for like 2 minutes, my sincere condolences that this is what you tuned into. We'll be back next
Go
week.
back to like the Kavanaugh or the UFC fights. Go back to either of those.
Please watch people actually beat each other up. That's way better than what we've been doing.
Aside from our irreverent little comments and memes and me drinking.
Yeah, really, I'm just sort of trying to get in trouble with the algorithm, I guess. I want to see how deep YouTube's filtering actually goes.
I want to see how long it goes before people make a meme out of me drinking.
Yeah, whiskey Wotan, hashtag.
That's a thing now. It's a thing.
Oh God. Okay, no, I will. But I have to tweet that.
Show, hashtag whiskey Wotan.
If you tweet that, it's just like you're doing it yourself. I will tweet it and then you can like it. Then
done.
Awesome, man. Have a good one.
You too, bud.